6 a.m. in Shanghai, 8 a.m. in Sydney, and 6 p.m. here in Atlanta. I'm Lynda Kinkade in for Julia Chatterley. And wherever you are in the world, this is your first move. A very warm welcome to First Move. Here is today's Need to Know. No Labor Day holiday for the U.S. presidential hopefuls. Donald Trump says he'll vote against a Florida abortion rights measure, while Kamala Harris's CNN interview comes under the spotlight. A humanitarian pause in Gaza for a massive health drive. 640,000 children to be vaccinated against polio to prevent an outbreak of the killer disease. We'll have a live report from Jerusalem. And the social media platform X suspended in Brazil. A judge makes the order following a legal row with Elon Musk. We'll explain. And what would you do? Anger in China after passengers go to extreme measures to silence a crying toddler on a plane. Just one of the many problems facing stressed out parents. That conversation coming up. But we begin here in the US. In the past couple of hours, Donald Trump has been speaking to voters in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. It's an issue in Florida that's actually making headlines: abortion rights. The Republican candidate on Thursday said a 6-week abortion ban in the state was too short. Take a listen.
Well, I think the 6-week is too short. It has to be more time, and I've told them that I want more weeks.
But a change of tune just moments ago, Trump saying he would not agree to an expansion of abortion rights in Florida. He explained his reasoning to Fox News.
That at the same time, the Democrats are radical because the 9 months is just a ridiculous situation where you can do an abortion in the 9th month. And, you know, some of the states like Minnesota and other states have it where you could actually execute the baby after birth. And all of that stuff is unacceptable. So I'll be voting no for that reason.
Unacceptable and illegal, as CNN has repeatedly noted. In every state in the U.S., it is illegal to kill a baby after it's born. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. First, let's bring in Democratic strategist Maria Cordona. Good to have you with us, Maria. I want to ask you first about that change in tune, it seems, from Donald Trump. Within 24 hours of saying that 6 weeks is too short for an abortion ban, saying more weeks are needed. Now today saying he won't agree to any sort of expansion of abortion rights in Florida. Just where does Trump stand on abortion?
Well, we know where he stands on abortion, Lynda. He brags about being the one to appoint the 3 extremist conservative judges to the Supreme Court who were the ones that overturned Roe v. Wade. So he does not trust women to make decisions about our own bodies. He wants to take away our bodily autonomy. He has already done so. A third of women in the United States live in states that have extreme abortion bans that actually have put women's lives in danger, have put their lives and livelihoods in danger as well. And that's why the vast majority of Americans are revolting against Donald Trump, against his extremist Republican Party, against his MAGA supporters, who all believe that women should be second-class citizens and not given the right to make decisions about our own bodies. That's where he has always stood. But I think he understands that this issue has been electoral kryptonite for Republicans, which is why once in a while he tries to walk it back, saying that, it's up to the states and 6 weeks is too short. Maybe it should be a little bit longer. And he's even told his Republican strategists that this is not a good issue for them electorally, that they don't know how to talk about it. It's not that they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to give women the right to make decisions about their own bodies because they don't respect women and they don't understand that we have the ability to make those decisions and should have that right. And the vast majority of Americans agree with that, which is why this is going to continue to be a huge electoral downfall for Republicans, and it will be so in November for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
And we are, of course, while you're speaking, Maria, just looking at live pictures of Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. But right now, I want to turn to the Harris interview on CNN last night, where Kamala Harris was asked about Donald Trump questioning her race. I just want to play some sound from that interview.
What I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
So she could have criticized Donald Trump. She could have called him a racist. She could have really fired up, but she didn't. Explain that strategy.
Yeah. I thought that was probably one of the best answers that she gave in her interview last night, Lynda, but again, because I think what it shows is that she is above all that crap, excuse my language, because she, I think, understands that Americans and frankly the world knows that Donald Trump is a racist, knows that he's a misogynist, knows that he's a sexist, knows that everything that he when he's in a campaign, everything that comes together if he's campaigning against a strong woman, it's all about insults. It's all about demeaning them. It's all about cutting them down because he doesn't know how to run against a strong, accomplished, smart woman who happens to be a woman of color, a Black woman of Asian descent, daughter of immigrants. It's like the biggest nightmare for Donald Trump is Kamala Harris. And so she doesn't need to go there. She doesn't need to demean herself and lower herself to his level. She will let other supporters, other allies point out exactly what I'm pointing out right now, which is that he is a racist, he is a misogynist, he is a xenophobe, he's a sexist, and he doesn't deserve to have the presidency for another 4 years. And what Kamala Harris said last night as well, which I thought was also brilliant and spot on, is that this is a country that focuses on optimism, that the leaders of this country, the mark of a true leader is how much we can lift each other up, not tear each other down. And we know that every time that Donald Trump opens his mouth, and J.D. Vance now as well, he tears people down. And specifically, they tear women down. They tear women of color down. And I think it's going to backfire for them. It has already been backfiring. It's going to continue to backfire for them in November.
All right, Maria Cardona, as always, great to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us and have a good weekend.
Thanks so much, Lynda. Appreciate it. You too.
Well, I want to get more on Donald Trump's abortion stand and his stance on IVF. Steve Cordona is in Washington and joins us live. Steve, good to have you with us. First, to Trump's stance on abortion. He seems to be flip-flopping from comments he made yesterday on a 6-week ban being too short to a statement he made today saying he won't agree to expand abortion rights in Florida. Is the Republican Party trying to rein him in?
Well, we certainly saw widespread backlash from anti-abortion advocates in the last 24 hours after Donald Trump seemed to suggest that he would not be he would be supporting a ballot referendum in his home state of Florida that would expand access to abortion. His comments were quite confusing. His campaign had later clarified, and Donald Trump himself just moments ago saying that he would, in fact, vote against that ballot referendum, which would keep in place a 6-week ban in the state of Florida. That's one of the most restrictive bans in the country. And Donald Trump has been largely critical of that 6-week ban, going back to the primary race he ran against, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. But in spite of that, he is going to vote against a referendum that would expand access to as much as 24 weeks into a presidency. Of course, Donald Trump has been changing his position on abortion going through all the way back to his early days in politics. He has been on nearly every side of the abortion debate whenever it's been sort of politically expedient for him. Over the summer, we counted about 15 times where Donald Trump had changed his position on abortion over the years, and I guess now we have number 16.
Yeah, exactly. And Steve, he also promised IVF for free for everyone in America and said he would mandate insurance companies to pay for it if need be. Has he provided any more detail on that? And what can you tell us about this speech he's doing tonight to the Mums for Liberty convention? How much sway does that group have?
he has not said yet how he's going to pay for what would be an expansive new mandate to ensure that women can get access to in vitro fertilization procedures. In fact, what's interesting is that earlier this summer there was a provision in a Senate bill that would have done exactly that, and his vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, voted against that measure. So there's still a lot of devils in the details, but clearly making a play for women's votes here on an issue that is very much a concern of many in the post-Roe aftermath in the United States. As for Moms for Liberty, this is a group that has been very influential in starting these sort of culture wars in the U.S. over K through 12 education. They have been instrumental in pushing Florida, for example, to remove certain books from schools, to get LGBTQ topics out of the classroom, to ban certain conversations about race, like critical race theory. And Donald Trump's agenda is very much aligned with them. So this is a friendly audience that he is speaking of. They have many aligned interests, and he will be delivering a speech that is supposed to be focused on education to them later this evening in Washington, D.C.
And of course, he's not really slowing down much over the Labor Day weekend. Tell us what's on the agenda in the coming days and week.
Yeah, we're going to see a very active campaign from Donald Trump going forward. I will note there's going to be probably a pause from both sides for a few days because we have that critical September debate right around the corner, and so there will be some time for getting caught up on sleep and prepping for that debate. But yes, Donald Trump is going to be running a very active campaign in the coming weeks. They really want to try to catch up to the energy and enthusiasm that has come from the vice president and the Democratic ticket ever since that change was made from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris. And so we are seeing a far more active campaign from Donald Trump over the last 2 weeks, something that many of his allies have been pushing for and that he is finally responding to.
All right, Steve Cordona for us, joining us from Washington, D.C. Good to have you with us. Thank you.